Psych up.
No.
Psych up.
Let me settle in and then we'll. This is all making it, isn't it?
It's December, baby.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Pinch and a punch for the third day of the month. Fourth day, sorry. It's Wednesday, the 4th of December.
It certainly is.
That's
Welcome
right.
back to another episode of Two's Company, Three's a Podcast, 2C3 Pod, 2CTP, whatever the bloody hell your little hearts would like to call us. My name is Dylan, as always, along with my co-host,
Mitchell. Did you hear about Chris Hemsworth?
No.
No? His wife has banned him from bringing home Thor's hammer.
Oh, no. You're correct. I did see this today. Yeah, how
because
hilarious
she
is
said
that?
we've got like 5 of them, and I told him, no more, no more.
Yeah, well, in order to play something like Thor, you just have to be a giant kid. You know, like obviously he's got like comedic timing like a T.
If I was somewhat successful in any kind of field, just saying, I would happily bring home every souvenir I could.
Yeah, especially the costume. Imagine like
Hollywood is a crazy beast, and you can go downhill very quickly. So you need to remember that I was a big shot once. I had a big hammer once.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, because it's time for 2C3 Pod, resetting our password. That wasn't a question, but I just made it.
You had an upwards inflection on that.
Yes, exactly, I did. I've never been to a will reading before. Think of it as a tax return run by a community theatre.
I saw this.
Yes, you did.
Very recently.
Yes, you did.
I've never... Knives Out.
Yes, it is Knives Out.
Yeah.
Wonderful film, and make sure you check out our full review on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Exclusive.
Exclusive? Wait.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry, that's right. It's also available in the archives of Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and
YouTube. Big summer blowout.
blowout.
Now, when you say archives, you mean like last week's episode? No. Last week's? Was it last week?
No. Yeah.
Last week's episode?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah, so all the way back to episode...
All of these
something or other.
episodes are just floating by, cruising by. I mean,
Yeah.
this week, 42.
Yeah.
42.
42.
That's right. That's where my little intro came from. The meaning of life from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Is that 42 or is it 47? Is that the meaning of life?
42.
It is 42.
It is. Come on, mate. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right.
Siri.
Hey, Siri, play Two's Company, Three's a Podcast on Spotify. There you go, Jono. Shout out JP Constructions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, and resetting our password is Windows recommends you do it every 42 days.
Yeah. It's fucking annoying.
I know. So, hey, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Wednesday episode of 2C3 Pod, also known as Two's Company, Three's a Podcast.
Yes.
Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, just a quick shout out, the big purple button on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening right now, rate, review. Just write something in there, gibberish. They made me do it. They're crap, actually. But 5 stars. Okay? Do that. It helps.
Give us a review. Let us know whether you like any of the segments that we have.
Or the show.
Or the show in general. We'd love to hear some actual feedback. But kicking right into it, speaking of feedback, Michael B. Jordan.
That's right. Michael B. Jordan has... I think I got some reverberation or something, but it sounded like something was talking to me. But anyway,
it definitely wasn't me.
No, I know, no. I'll listen back and it'll be nothing, and I just sound like a crazy person. But Michael B. Jordan, like you said, greatest Bulls player ever.
We're lucky we have.
That's a joke. I'm a Bulls fan.
We're lucky we have this on video now, is because when it's on a podcast and you go,
and a freeze. Yes, I know, that's
nobody knows what the hell's going on. But if you're listening. If you're watching, you'll know that we do this live, uncut, unfiltered, and it's also quite unnecessary.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry to spoil it.
Uncut, unfiltered, and unnecessary. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. But Michael B. Jordan, as we said before we went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yes. Reportedly, he has pitched a Superman film to Warner Brothers, but unfortunately, because of his schedule, it's making it near impossible for it to happen. But with that being said, there is no writer or director attached to the next Superman project, whatever it may be, starring whoever it may be.
Yeah.
So we probably won't see that until 2023, so there could be a chance.
This isn't the first time this has actually come up across the internet. Michael B. Jordan's expressed his interest in playing Superman previously. Now, I'm not talking like before Henry Cavill. It was more like sort of in between Justice League, where everybody was saying, this sucks, everything sucks, what do we do?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it began with fans saying that they would like Michael B. Jordan or whether it was Michael B. Jordan himself. Either way, I'm open to the idea.
Hell yeah.
I like Henry Cavill, and I think he has more to do with Superman. He's opened up recently on the internet and says he's not done with the character. He just has no idea what's happening next.
Yeah.
And I would love to see him return to that character and that particular franchise that they've built, and continue and improve. Give him the chance to improve that version of Superman.
I've got no problem with that either.
Yeah, but if it's going to go the way that I would like it to go, have it completely separate. Have two Supermans at the same time.
Exactly. I mean, why not? We've found out with the Joker that it is possible to just have a movie about a character that doesn't attach to all the 18 fucking ones you've got linked together.
That's right.
And that's the key here. If this could be its own entity, just keep going with Henry Cavill, like, as in keep that expanding, growing, like exploring that character now. That it's entrenched in the Justice League universe and all that.
The DCEU, as they call it. Yeah.
Yes, the DCEU, and
it's fun to say, isn't it? DCEU.
I had to stop myself from saying Ewan McGregor. Like, yes, but
who is now in the DCEU? But
yes, but I'm more than open to him potentially playing this character, whether it be the next Superman or a separate Superman.
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
With Warner Brothers and their track record recently, I honestly think anything that's coming next will be disconnected.
Yes.
Like obviously, if Henry Cavill's to return to Superman, that would continue that storyline because there was a bit of a teaser in the end of Shazam. Obviously that wasn't actually Henry Cavill, but Superman still exists within that particular universe. Michael B. Jordan, I don't think there's ever... I mean, there may have been, because obviously in the comics have been going for donkey's years. There's a million different iterations of Superman, and I'm not sure if there's ever been like a black Superman. There may have been. There's been black suit Superman.
I can't think of any.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Idris Elba.
Oh, I'm Black Superman, motherfucker, or whatever he says in that movie.
In Hobbs and Shaw, I'm the Black Superman. Oh, man, I love that. That's the best part of that movie.
As much as I fucking hate it, I also love it very much. Because it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
But if Michael B. Jordan did get his way and became cast as the next Black Superman, Idris Elba's got to he's got to be so pissed. I mean, seriously,
he's perfect for it.
I mean, he may be the next James Bond.
He can play Jor-El, his father.
So next Superman project deals, Idris, get excited. Oh, it's coming. We want you to play his dad.
Dad.
Snap, Oscar worthy. That's right, Idris. And he would get punched in the face, that person who suggests that.
Probably.
No.
But with this, as I said, I'm not sure if there's been a black iteration of Superman. There probably has been, but
I'm sure there has been in some kind of pop
in this
culture.
day and age. Now there's coming to the point where people are a hell of a lot more open to this. Say back in the 70s when Christopher Reeve's Superman was being pitched, I don't think there was even a thought of having anybody other than a Caucasian male to play Superman, because that would have been outrageous.
No, that's right.
But now, I think Michael B. He was excellent as the villain in Black Panther. He was the best thing about that movie.
All those nipples he had?
All those hundreds, thousands of nipples. Yeah. Tons of nipples.
Yes.
But I think he's I
am right. He has the dots all over his skin, right? They all do or something.
They're scars of how many people he's killed, but I'm happy to call them nipples.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's good. Michael B. Jordan, love your nipples.
Yeah.
But speaking of nipples,
I think he'll be great if this ever happens. Whether it actually happens remains to be seen, but come on, Warner Brothers.
No.
Hit a brother up.
Exactly. Just keep things going and keep things fresh.
Yeah.
But anyway, while we're on the topic of the DCEU... DCE?
DCEU. What?
What?
It's not DC Universe Extended.
While we're on the topic of the Dukes, James Gunn's...
Speaking of the Dukes.
Yes. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is reportedly going to be rated R, which is very exciting, and it's following in line with Birds of Prey and Joker.
So you know why this isn't exciting to me?
Why?
Is because that was announced after Joker, when that film has basically been filmed before Joker.
Yeah.
It's like a last minute... Oh, well, this is actually going to be R. It's not like... I don't think it was intended to be R originally.
I don't know. I feel like James Gunn was filming it with the intentions of, I don't care what this is rated as long as it's what I want. And then because of the success of this, they're like, all right, okay, you can have that bit that we spoke about, this bit that was, I reckon he's filmed exactly what he wanted to film. Yep. And he's just like, as long as you keep it my project and don't cut it down to the bone. And now with the success of Joker and Birds of Prey as being greenlit as R as well, I think, hey... They're probably just like, all right, you can have what you want.
You might be right in saying that, because, obviously James Gunn can certainly produce R-rated films.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think, with the rise of popularity of superhero films becoming more dark, more violent, and introducing some darker themes, especially in this particular universe, Zack Snyder, essentially, I think, is the one who started that with the ultimate cut of Dawn of Justice, BVS.
Oh, God. This is like the fourth week in a row we've brought that up.
Is it?
Well, we brought it up last week because there's been new outcry for fans saying, give us this article.
That's the Justice League. I'm talking about the one previously to that. That's Batman.
Oh, right.
I'm talking about Batman vs. Superman.
That's what I thought you were talking about last week. Shit.
No. Anyway,
my bad.
This is how fucking lost and confuddled it is. But that film was like 3 hours long, and it had deeper themes, and it was more violent.
Yeah, right.
But it was filmed in a way where you can tell... Yeah, it may have been filmed with the intention of being violent, but then it was cut short and cut down and watered down for its theatrical release, and it failed big time because of it. The additional, the special cut is actually a hell of a lot better.
Okay.
Not by a big margin.
So was the special cut 3 hours long or the original? Okay.
No, the special cut was 3 hours long. And it made the film much better. So hopefully you're correct in saying that James Gunn filmed this and wrote this with the intention of being R, and then maybe they had the ability to cut out a lot of the R-rated elements to bring it into a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
And now with Joker, they've gone, well, let's put it all back in.
No, exactly. Well, I'm hoping that it didn't even get to that stage where they've got to try and then piece it back together and blah, blah, which isn't that hard. Yeah. But at the same time, I would like to think that this is a case of James Gunn just wrote and directed the film that he wanted.
Yep.
It's in post-production, and then finally the bosses above said, fine, all right, just do it your way. We trust it. You know, they can work.
Yeah, well, let's hope. The reason I'm sort of a bit on the fence about that particular, I wouldn't say argument, but that point of view is because there's been so many films before that have been filmed with like a PG-13 rated sort of feeling essentially, and then they've just added really pointless like CGI blood squibs and pointless swearing.
We'll be talking about CGI blood squids later in the episode.
Blood squids,
blood squids.
Delicious. Yeah. But I those movies like they don't work.
No.
So I'm hoping this one will obviously learn its lessons from the previous one, which I think it certainly will. Different director, different writer, same cast, which is what I'm excited for. So they're all having this redeeming factor about it.
Yeah. Fresh slate. First one didn't happen. Leave it alone.
I'm hoping this is R for all the right reasons.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Not for the forced reasons of, hey, now we need to capitalize on the R market.
Yeah. Well, speaking of R, VR is an interesting topic again this week.
That's right. Xbox head Phil Spencer has said that Scarlet will not be VR focused because nobody is asking for it.
Which is strange because, I mean, everybody's asking for it.
Well, it's the way that games have, like, evolved, and it's gotten to the stage where they've become an actual playable game. It's not like just for funsies anymore. Like
it's not just an experience,
like the Shark Cage game that you've got here. You know, like it. There's actually games that this is growing to where there's going to be an entire world and all these exploration games and stuff.
Yeah,
why are you not including it as a main feature?
To say that VR, that like obviously, virtual reality gaming that nobody's asking for it. Fair enough, like Sony with the PlayStation produced their PSVR, which for a fairly cheap version of virtual reality, it is quite good. It is quite high quality. And I've got a VR and I love it, but I'm primarily an Xbox man. And I was hoping that the next iteration of the Xbox would have some kind of VR compatibility. And I was hoping, without any kind of confirmation, that, maybe they're working on something that is going to be better, or maybe not better, but equal to what PlayStation are doing. Yeah. But to say that nobody's asking for it's a bit ridiculous because Facebook just bought Oculus Rift.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know who your Oculus Rift is?
Yes.
No. So
why don't you tell the listeners?
So Oculus Rift is like another brand of... another high-end brand of virtual reality gaming. Yep. And I'm not sure if it's the CEO or one of the lead creative designers of Oculus Rift is the man named John Carmack, the original creator of Doom. After he left id Software, he went... Like he's not necessarily so much about gameplay now. He's more about technology. He's always been about technology. The bloke invented fucking rockets, for Christ's sake. So he moved... Right. Yeah, so it's called the Armadillo Space Project. Anyway.
Yeah.
He's moved into like Oculus VR and he has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's been bought by Facebook. So to turn around and say that nobody's asking for VR, I don't think all games will ever evolve to the point where they're all going to be VR.
No.
But they will all have some kind of peripheral.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the controller or additional screens or whether it's a headset, there needs to be improvement on to what it is at the moment. Otherwise, you're just releasing another Xbox, the same fucking thing again.
Yeah, that's literally all it comes down to. And fair enough, nobody's asking for it because there isn't like hashtags, give us VR or anything like that. But it's part of the evolution of gaming.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like nobody was asking for it when PlayStation did it.
No, they just did it and it worked.
They just did it and it worked. And there's a lot more games. The market's growing for that kind of game. It's never going to become number one.
What's the saying? There's a saying about being ahead of the curb.
Yeah.
You know, it's a matter of like curve, whatever the saying is. It's a matter of identifying what technologies may be available and being the first at it and being great at it.
No.
Obviously, the Xbox company, Microsoft, Phil Spencer, they're obviously focusing on their next Scarlet, which is probably going to be the exact same thing. So to go from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One was a marginal step forward. However, they still essentially did the same thing. They played movies, they played Xbox games. That's about it.
Yeah.
Then they tried and tested by forcing all Xbox owners to own the Kinect, which was their kind of spacious reality kind of technology, which didn't work so well as they really intended, so they scrapped it. So I'm guessing they're a bit afraid to try and invest in that kind of technology when it did dig them a big hole earlier.
But at the same time, when you're a big company like this, with the way the market's going and things like that and the way things are evolving, you can't be scared to take that risk.
Yeah, I actually really liked my Kinect when I owned it because I was able to just like sit in front of the TV, turn my Xbox on, talk to it. Obviously, it's an expensive remote that you don't have to touch, but they could have integrated the Kinect technology with virtual reality and obviously the PlayStation has this little camera which watches and senses where you move, but the Kinect was like that, but better.
Oh,
and it had
100%.
Integrated sort of technology within it. So if they couldn't combine those two technologies, then what hope do they have in competing?
No, that's right.
The next
but at the same
market.
But at the same time, giving up is not the right answer.
No,
but also just remember, he didn't say that it's not going to be included. It's just not a focal point. It's probably just going to be something that like, there it is. We're not doing much with it, but it's there. Yeah. You know, like that's what it seems like to me.
They could source to third parties because there are a lot of companies building VR. I mean, the best VRs are, built for PC because there's a million indie games that people make indie VR games and they're quite good.
No, that's right. So, it's definitely a way that the market is moving and it is going to be an evolution in gaming. It's not going to become number one very quickly, but
still a gimmick-ish.
100%,
Yeah.
but it's a gimmick that is moving forward and progressing. And by the time that they get around to possibly making it a main feature, there's going to be it's going to be PlayStation 6 and Xbox fucking Diamond Ruby, so they're going to be behind again. So oh well, Phil Spencer, whatever, do your thing, mate. Count your money. You're
still
right.
on that though, there could be the sense of people getting
still.
Yeah, I've been talking about this for 5 minutes. People are like, when you play the headset, like 5 minutes. When people play the VR for an extended,
I know. Sorry, I started doing that last week. I got to stop that. That's my bad. Oh, okay, all right, we're making it a thing. Speaking of,
what was I talking about?
So we'll talk about the next thing.
People playing VR, like you lose that like feeling of where you are, and you do get googly eyes and sort of dizzy while playing these sort of things. But you can't really be afraid of that too, because back when first-person shooters were first being developed and coming to the mainstream, like you were watching them on little 16 by 16 screens and people were still getting dizzy.
Oh, big time.
But people become used to that.
No.
It's the same for VR. It may take a little while longer, but people would be able to get used to it.
Same with Mario Kart, man. I'm sorry, but the amount you turn yourself and
you
your
still
whole body
do this.
and all that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is. But that is not something to be scared of.
No way. You should
not with
double
the
down
evolution
on
of gaming.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the depressing news is VR isn't coming as a main focal point to Xbox for a while. But we'll get back on the lighter side of things.
Yeah.
Did you hear that a script for Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker? Okay, you did? Cool. Good stuff. All right. What's the next
Moving on.
It popped up on eBay recently, and J.J. Abrams said it was legit. One of our actors, I won't say which one, I want to, but I won't, left it under their bed and it was found by someone who was cleaning their place.
Yeah.
Disney brought it off eBay to avoid any spoilers leaking, and then John Boyega has now admitted that it was him that left it under the bed.
I saw this,
I find this hilarious that in 2019, in the world of the internet, where things spread like wildfire and everyone's out to try and make a buck and everyone's looking for that leak and that advantage and that, viral moment and stuff like we are.
Yeah.
And he just left a script just under his bed.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. I think the safest way to hide scripts as well, especially in this day and age, in the age of information, I've been saying that a lot.
Down your pants. I've been saying that for years.
Up
down
your bum. Roll it up it goes.
I've gone down, but you've gone up. All right.
Is to have them printed on paper.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like
You just said the safest way, but it just got found and sold on eBay.
What I'm saying is like if you had it like on like an iPad or a phone or something like that, it could be hacked and downloaded. Yeah. So the safest way to do it is by printing it out. But the idiot left it under his fucking bed.
Exactly.
Yes, like fair enough. He may not have thought anything of it. Like it's a piece of paper. Nobody's going to be looking under my bed. But if you're living in a hotel room for however long you're shooting a movie for, you know, lock it up. It's fucking Star Wars. Like people will take this and. Whoever made the money from Disney, if I was that person, I would have copied every single page and then sold it.
No, I know, and I'd like to think they would, but also I'd like to think I'm scared of Disney. So, I mean, if I'm the one who's like, oh my God, this is legit, I would read it cover to cover, of course.
Yeah.
I'd copy it. I'd put it on eBay. Disney would be like, we need that now. We'll pay whatever you want. You know, here you go. And also, by the way, did you make a fucking copy?
And
I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, are you sure? Because... we hear everything. Okay?
Do you have a Disney Plus subscription?
Did you make any copies? And I'd be like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And I would just crumble. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure they may have sold like 5-10 grand out of that.
I wonder how much. Can we find it? Like,
I'm not sure. No, because I imagine that it's been posted, sold, and now it's gone. But if you Google how much it costs, but either way, I would be all over that. If I found it, I don't even know if I'd be willing to try and sell it. I'd be scared of Disney.
Yeah. Internet isn't telling me much. I'm going to have to look into that at a later time. But still.
Did that just say in the neighborhood of $300 to $60,000?
Yes, it did.
Wow. Internet, you have served us well. But
it was just the cost of scripts. Not
I just find it so funny that, especially somebody who's making 7 figures a year kind of thing, as an actor, you can't afford a briefcase that locks.
Yeah.
I mean,
right? Yeah.
It's like this role has given you a career that's probably going to die very soon. But either way... you protect that shit with your life, and you just lost a piece of memorabilia that you can have at home to remember that you were once special.
Right. You know, like he could have had that up on his wall or whatever, just like Chris Hemsworth.
I was going to say, like with Chris Hemsworth and his hammers.
Yeah.
If I was an actor, I'd be keeping every script that I was a part of. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man, I'd be all over that because one day I want to tell my kids around the barrel can fire that I used to be a big deal, you know? Yeah. Oh, no, I was talking about when I'm a hobo because they get washed up and spat out so often. But anyway, have you ever read a script? Well, yes.
Yeah,
The Departed, Martin Scorsese.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have a copy of it at home.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Have you ever read a script to a movie that wasn't made?
No.
Now, that's an
Well, I mean, no, never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
I was going to say, I mean, ones that I've written, but anyway.
Oh, that's cool. Anyway, the one that I've read was
definitely not been made.
George A. Romero's Resident Evil.
Oh, nice. He
was him to produce the first Resident Evil movie before it became.
So is that floating around on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. It's free to read. Yeah, you can certainly find it, and it's really, really good. And obviously, when you're reading a script, you visualize what you would imagine the film to look like in your head.
100%.
And the way the story flows is very familiar, obviously, for anybody who's familiar with the Resident Evil game franchise. Yes. He uses actual characters from the games, unlike the films, most of them essentially. And George A. Romero, the king of horror,
exactly,
like the granddaddy of like zombie films. Like,
see, that's something that I'd love to see them go back and redo now that he's passed on.
I would love to see this script be made.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, maybe have somebody just like proofread it, like, maybe a couple edits here and there. But if they use his script and make a new one, that'd be amazing. Yeah,
as a tribute to him, like that would be very cool.
Exactly, yeah. Why not? But speaking of Star Wars from a moment ago, Baby Yoda gifts, they took the internet by storm, of course. And of course, Disney tried to file a lawsuit.
Yeah.
As Disney does. But they filed the suit against Giphy, who's in charge of gifts and that.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was a miscommunication apparently, and after briefly being pulled off the internet, they're back. So
that has to be like, hey, we tried.
Yeah.
This got out of hand.
Yeah.
We're going to back away as if we didn't do anything. Like,
exactly.
Disney, we get it.
Like, it's classic Disney. They've got their fucking, I imagine, a huge warehouse full of people with just their faces in computers in tiny 1x1 cubicles, just scouring the internet for copyright lawsuit things.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, Baby Yoda, we own that. I've got one! and just imagine that. Then you see a boss running down the stairs, pushing people. Get out of my fucking way. Yeah. What have you got? That's a lawsuit.
Yeah. And they would have done it, and then Disney higher-ups would have been like, hold on a minute. Like,
Disney higher-ups would have been like, but they're pretty funny. Like, I mean, come on.
They've been sending them to each other in the office.
Yeah, of course they would have been. Yeah,
like, I know
5-year-old me trying to sue a Giphy company.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway,
I get the popularity behind Baby Yoda. I 100% get the popularity because after you sold me on the Disney Plus streaming service by
accidentally, I'm not even sold on it. I've cancelled mine.
Yeah, I've kept it ever since because I download I've been watching The Simpsons.
Of course.
And I've also been keeping up with The Mandalorian.
Oh, so you are watching that and it's up to date? Yeah.
And like it's released week to week.
Yep.
Like, which is good because I hate it when they're all released all at once because I'm not going to binge. I just don't.
Just remember, Netflix do that for some particular shows.
Yeah,
not often enough though.
Yeah, I think there's a really good sense of like nostalgia about watching something week for week,
100%,
and it allows you to keep up and like without spoilers with somebody who's binged the whole thing while I've been at work. So, The Mandalorian. I'm not going to go too much into it because we've got a bit to still cover off in this episode.
Yeah,
but it is filmed and shot beautifully.
Yep. The
special effects, the mixture of like puppeteering, special effects, and CGI is really good. But Baby Yoda, oh man, he is the cutest, the best thing to ever embrace the internet.
Yeah,
and like in the TV show as well, he is primarily a puppet, except for the occasional times where he has to move quicker than like a puppet would.
Oh, of course, but I can't remember who it was, but Stan somebody called the crew of The Mandalorian cowards for thinking about using CGI for Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would have been fine, but I think there's a certain
it's a charm. It's a realism. Like it
that's
just
exactly
feels
what
authentic.
I was thinking. Yeah, there's a certain charm to having like an actual puppet, and it goes back to like the original Star Warses, but not only that, the 80s of filmmaking where most creature features were all big puppets and they all looked, there's a certain realism to them. You can tell that they're in the room. There's a certain weight to them. And little tiny Baby Yoda, he kind of goes goo goo gaga, but he's fucking adorable. He drinks
or
a
is
little
it gaga goo goo?
Ga goo ga.
Yeah, there you go.
But he uses the Force, and it kind of confuses me how they're going to go forward from there because it's about balancing in the universe, blah, 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 but we won't get into that. But
well, you'll find out. I will not.
Yeah, certainly.
Yes. But speaking of, I don't know, Star Wars.
Yeah, anyway, moving on.
No, but box office results for the weekend.
Let's have a look.
Yes, we had Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Cyber Monday over the weekend for America, so not a big deal over here.
Sunday and Saturday and
yes,
such. Yes,
but last week we had Knives Out and Frozen 2 officially coming to theaters, and of course, Frozen 2 took the top gong, but Knives Out was very respectable with its results though, as well,
right.
And they've actually gone above what they were expecting for it for the opening weekend. So that's nice to hear.
I think it is nice to hear because Knives Out, like we've talked about in a previous episode, go check it out on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course YouTube.
Big summer blowout.
It is a great film. There are some things I don't like about it, but 98% of the film I really do enjoy, and I think it's crafted very well. So I think it deserves, a good return.
Absolutely.
I think that I know we've talked about it recently in previous episodes, but I think there's also, it kind of bums me out that something like this can be successful, but Dr. Sleep failed. Because they're both equal in the way that they are passion projects in their own right.
Without getting too much into it, I understand, yes, passion project, but at the same time, Dr. Sleep had the stigma about it being a sequel.
But it also had the popularity of being the sequel.
No, I know, but that backfired in my mind because like we've discussed in our in-depth review of that at Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, that it's been so long that there's this new generation who just didn't even give it a chance. Didn't even try, even though you don't have to have seen The Shining to understand this movie.
Yeah.
But
and I think like obviously
it's unfortunate.
Something like Knives Out caters to a wider audience, obviously, 100%. As well, because it's not something that like that is harking to a specific sort of niche of film goer. It's actually quite wide with the kind of people it can attract. So.
That's the unique thing about Knives Out is that it feels niche, but it's very commercially acceptable. Like it's very open to being successful to a regular moviegoer.
Yeah,
like as much as I wouldn't want them to, but I feel like they're. Teenagers could go and watch this and enjoy it, but I know that they probably would get turned off by the trailer because it looks like a niche artsy film. But
that's the thing, because like the idea that I got from the trailer that I expected a different film from the trailer. I expected more of a comedy, and there was comedic elements to it, but at heart, it primarily wasn't a comedy film. It was more of that mystery thriller. Well, not thriller, but more of a mystery film.
I compare it to the original Death at a Funeral.
Okay.
Have you seen Death at a Funeral?
Not for a very long time.
No, it's been a long time for me as well, but at the same time, that was geared up as this like hilarious, like, Death at a Funeral, ha ha ha, with the amazing cast.
Yeah.
And it was funny. but it was still very dark.
Yeah.
And this to me feels very dark, gritty, and real.
Yeah.
But it's still funny.
Yeah.
And it still holds up all the way. Why are we re-reviewing Knives Out?
Anyway.
We're reviewing it. Either way, it's...
it had a good performance over the box office, competing against Frozen 2, which is going to get double tickets because not only are you selling to kids, but you're selling to their parents.
Well, it's officially on the way to... If it already hasn't, it broke the Thanksgiving weekend, which is every year in America. It broke the Thanksgiving weekend box office, which was previously held by Frozen 1.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. It was held by another film, my bad. But yeah, either way, it's broken its Thanksgiving weekend record. And Knives Out did quite well.
Yeah. What else did we have on the list?
Yeah, there was more box office news, but I didn't. We haven't opened that link yet. That's my bad.
Anyway, look from this. I have no idea where we're going.
No, but either way, Knives Out had a $40 million budget, and through its worldwide gross so far, after less than a week, it has already made, I think it was 50, 60, something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah. It's already made $70 million, so it's made its budget back. Now it's all about the profit. So
that's
Knives
good.
Out, good. Keep supporting it. Frozen 2, great documentary. Not as good as the original Oscar-winning previous one.
Exactly. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. You put in the notes that there was some information about Pete Davidson.
Yes, I was trying to get ahead of that and hoping you would run into the other bit of box office news, but I forgot about that. No, that's fine. Yes, Pete Davidson has popped up in the news very briefly because apparently he is making his audience members at his comedy shows sign non-disclosure agreements, which means that they cannot... Okay, so for one, it's one thing to have a non-disclosure agreement about don't say anything about this, like don't reveal any jokes. But it's literally...
Like John Boyega with his Star Wars script. He would have been given a non-disclosure agreement about telling anybody.
But then he's like, here's my entire job.
Yeah.
Like, yes, and just threw it away. But it's one thing to have a non-disclosure agreement about don't reveal any of the jokes or like, plot twists in the jokes or the punchlines and all that.
Yeah.
But it went so far as to don't post what you thought about it. Don't share your thoughts on the jokes. So no
reviews, essentially.
Nothing. Do not post whether you liked it or disliked it and they listed Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all of those, Snapchat, none of that. Like you basically couldn't even say that you went to the show. Because,
right.
Yeah, so that to me is a little bit strange. Now, I want to know, okay, I don't mind Pete Davidson, but is this the world that we're heading towards, where is this a case of he's so sensitive that he doesn't want to hear feedback? Or is this a case of he's working on his material, gearing up for a special and wants that to come out with a bang?
I would hope the latter.
Yes,
so that way he's gearing up for so he doesn't want to work on... Like, there would be nothing worse than... Well, actually, I wouldn't say nothing worse because it happens now, is that a comedian would write a fresh hour of comedy and they may only be able to test it in small places until they can really test it in the field against their larger audiences, like their theaters and things like that.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that's the thing with the current crop of working comedians. I've referenced him many a time, but Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah.
I listen to his podcast and he talks about it all the time. Every week he's going to comedy clubs, I think 5 times a week in LA where he lives, working on new material on that. He's not making nobody say anything. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he's working on it. He's currently back up to a new 20 minutes out of an hour and next year he'll be ready for that. But he's not making people, hey, don't even say that you went there.
Yeah, I don't really know how to think about this because, I was starting to think that, maybe it's because he doesn't want his jokes recorded and put out there on the internet, so that way when his special may come out, that it's all spoiled. Because you watch some old YouTube videos of Rodney Dangerfield where he had a 10 years period where he used the same jokes over and over, but because there was no internet, nobody knew that he was using them over and over. They're all hilarious, but after you've seen 3 or 4 videes of these specials, you realize, okay, he is recycling a lot of his material because there was no need to write a fresh hour every week, as where these days you kind of have to keep it as fresh as you can because things get out with video and Instagram and YouTube.
That's where, as in, I'm not going to try and claim to be professional at all, and I've only heard it from a couple of comedian standpoints, but as far as I'm aware, they work on their hour-long special normally or hour-long show over the process of a year or so.
Yeah.
Once they've got it good, they're like, sweet, now to tour it outside of just this city where I've been working on it. Now to tour around the world, around the country, blah, blah, blah. And once they do that, they hope to get a special. They get a special and then that's it for that material.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and it's normally like a
yeah.
2-year process or something like that. So
Yeah.
that seems to be the current crop. But
I don't think that's it. I think this guy,
he's
I
sensitive.
don't know.
Sensitive Sally.
Yeah, I don't know much about Pete Davidson. All I know is that he looks like he's tired all of the time, and that's about it.
Even in the picture at the top of the article where he's like got this huge smile, it's like, dude,
go to bed.
Get some sleep.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing is like the reason this has come up in the news is because one person refused to sign it.
I can see there's a comment there saying,
Yes.
I didn't want to... This is from Variety magazine or online, whatever you call it. I didn't want to sign it because I was basically saying that I wasn't able to comment on it or have an opinion. And listen, obviously you can have your opinion and keep it to yourself, but people like to go, oh, this was funny.
But it's not even the fact of like, if I go to a comedy show, my first thought when I walk out is, I've got to post about this.
No,
I talk about it, but when somebody says, oi, don't tell anyone. It's kind of like, wait, I may not, I probably wasn't going to, but why would you stop me from freedom of speech?
Yeah.
You know, that's
and that's
my
the thing. There's a massive...
Hey, but she complained she didn't have to sign it and got a refund. And then she called the events office and asked if it was for a special, and they had no comment. But there was no cameras as far as anyone could see, so... I think he's just sensitive Sally.
Very weird situation, especially for a comedian.
Pete Davidson, I know you're listening. Don't comment on this episode.
Yeah, you're not allowed to watch it or tell anybody that you've watched it.
You know what? Don't comment on it. And that way we know that you've watched it.
Yeah.
So next week when we have our episode and see that Pete Davidson didn't tweet about the show, we know he was listening.
Absolutely. And you stuck to your fucking word.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're going viral, bitch.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of this, really. Like, as you said, like...
It's just odd.
I think by saying that, it's protecting the material like I was thinking... I honestly think, I'm overthinking it.
Yeah.
It is simply just...
I think he's just a sensitive Sally.
Yeah.
And knowing him, he's probably he seems like one of that new generation of celebrities that goes home and Googles himself.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100% he wants to know.
And as you say, you can't read the comments.
Yeah.
But please comment on our shit. Nobody comments on our shit.
Actually, by viewing or listening to this, you have now agreed to a non-disclosure agreement, so do not share or like or subscribe to anything.
Ever, except...
Reverse Psychology.
Two Skip Things podcast.
Reverse Psychology. I'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
The next thing
Spawn is apparently there's a bit of reboot news. Keep it brief, Dylan. Okay,
well.
We don't need to hear how the creator of this is like the long lost second cousin of Doom creator.
What?
I'm sorry. You just find a way to link Doom into everything.
Oh, sure,
it's
I can.
Charming.
Anyway, listen, I'm glad you actually brought this up because I didn't put this in the notes today.
Yeah, no.
So, like, have you seen Spawn, the movie Spawn from whenever it was?
God. No.
That movie,
Maybe.
That movie.
I don't know.
Listen, that movie was written and directed by Todd McFarlane, who is the creator of Spawn, and he's a famous comic book writer. He's done a lot of Spider-Mans, and he was one of the original creators, I believe, one of the creators of Venom.
97.
97, yeah. The Spawn character is quite interesting. I won't go into exactly what he is because it's quite complex. It's got something to do with hell and, demons, essentially, and it's very dark, brooding, violent sort of character. And to bring him back in the modern cinematic landscape, I think will be very successful. But it depends on who does it, because Todd McFarlane has been talking about his Spawn reboot movie for like, it feels like 10 years now.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been going on for ages, and he's only just talking about it again, saying, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen one way or another. It's like, what do you mean? Like, is it or is it not? Like, have you pitched this movie to any studio yet?
Well, has he written it?
Well, that's another thing.
Exactly.
I don't think it's gotten anywhere.
No, that's the thing. And the fact that he specifically said, with or without a big studio, I'm going to do it independently. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to have legs.
I feel go big or go home. Like, either just ditch it and let someone take care of it, or
I feel like
go to Warner Brothers or something.
No, that's right. But even then, I feel like there isn't that much of a market or fan base left for this.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he took it to what's that site that I can't remember, the horror movie with the clown guy, Terrifier. What did they use to raise funds?
Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter or one of those. I feel like if he took it there, he wouldn't get what he needed.
See, and I'm glad you say that, because that's true. Like, listen, like, Spawn is a popular comic book character.
Yeah.
But most people associate their knowledge of Spawn to the film that sucked.
Yes.
And I believe most people, like in my position, would understand that Spawn isn't all that movie. There are some redeeming elements and things I like about that film. The special effects mainly because they look so cheesy, but I love it.
Yeah.
But people associate that. So I don't think there's enough comic book fans or diehard fans of Spawn to get something like that off the ground in comparison to, say, the MCU or the DCEU or fucking even Hellboy. I don't think there's enough of that to really attract like the bigger studios to produce a film like this and make it big enough to be successful.
Yeah.
Yes, like independently produce it may end up being a better film, but in terms of a wide release and the budget that a movie like this needs, it needs to be heavy on special effects.
Yeah, I think he needs to take a page out of Tony Giglio's book.
Yeah.
And what was the...
Universal 1440 Studios.
That's the one.
Yeah, they've got a
Do
big
that.
enough... do that. If
Why
you
not?
want your film to be like...
If you want your film out... Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. Giglio literally was like, I need to make this. Just give me what you can. Got what he could.
And
made
he
a decent flick.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, hey, what was his name? Seth MacFarlane?
Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane. Just... go. If you've actually got a script ready for it, take it, shop it, do it, okay?
Yeah. And if you don't have a script for it, stop talking.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, until you have a script for it.
Simple as that.
But if you haven't, are you familiar with Todd McFarlane, that name at all, other than this?
Literally, I'm just thinking of Seth.
So his biggest thing to date currently, other than the creation of Spawn and a few popular like Spider-Man villains like Venom, for example, he owns the McFarlane Toy Company. They produce all of the Fortnite action figures.
Oh, there you go.
So whenever you see a Fortnite action figure on like
that
the
are
shelf,
way too expensive.
Oh, ridiculous! Yeah, and they're pretty dodgy. Yeah. They're all McFarlane toys. That's his company. They've recently brought out a Doom model, which I do have. So there's my segue
I was
into
say,
Doom.
I'm like, wow, and I thought we were going to get through a segment without it, but damn, yeah.
Hey, you brought it up first. You brought up Doom Annihilation with Tony Giglio.
Yeah, I brought up the film. But
I brought up the action figure of the Doom Eternal figure.
But either way, I think that covers us for news for the week, basically. Not a huge news week, but there were some fun bits in there.
Yeah, as we said, welcome to December. Like, things are slowing down. People are getting ready for Christmas. Are you ready for Christmas, Mitchell?
Oh, not yet. I haven't visited tpublic.com and searched Two's Company 3's a podcast to find the latest t-shirts and little figure... we don't have figurines.
Haven't we talked about this before?
Of course we have, and it's just a pipe dream, you know?
Yeah, we said life-size action figures.
I want bobbleheads. Life-size action figures?
Yeah, remember that?
Hell nah. Hell nah. I don't even want life-size me.
I think your reaction was, ew.
Exactly. Yeah. You originally and now hell nah. So, no, that's not going to happen. But I think it's time to kick into a little bit of a...
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. Let's see if this is going to work today.
It is. All right.
I forgot that I had it.
Coming at you fresh. Coming from afar. It's 2C3 Pod.
Does Netflix.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2C3 Pod DTN. Does the Netflix. Because this week didn't really get a chance to go to the cinemas as we were hoping for, but we got a chance to view one that came out last Wednesday on Netflix internationally.
Yes, so internationally released on Netflix, as Mitch just mentioned. It also had a limited theatre release, and leading up to the release of this film, we were sort of barking at the idea of having a cinematic release locally.
Yes.
And after watching this film, I'm so glad this didn't come to cinemas locally, because there's no fucking way I would have been able to handle this movie. We saw The Irishman.
Yes, of course, as you can probably tell from the... I don't know. It's in the description somewhere. But either way, it did have a somewhat local... we've mentioned Avoca Beach Theatre. The theatre the last couple of weeks. They had it there for a couple of screenings. And I honestly feel like I would have enjoyed this a hell of a lot more on the big screen, though.
I certainly would have enjoyed it more on the big screen.
As bad as it sounds, and I don't mean it to sound bad, but being forced to sit there and watch it on the big screen without the freedom of, like, you know, turning, laying on my lounge, you know,
looking at my phone, brushing the cat,
things like that. Like, I definitely would have enjoyed it a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
But in saying that, as much, man, how do we kick this review off without saying it just dragged?
Okay, so The Irishman is a very, very long film. It's the longest film that I've ever seen, except for a film that came out in the 1920s called Metropolis, which I won't go into it, but that's very long and hard to watch.
Okay.
But this movie is 3.5 hours long. It is a hard R-rated film, and I understand why, because there are some fairly heavy themes and also some decent violence in it.
Oh, decent? We'll get to that. But
yeah,
before you keep going, though, I just wanted to say
the shootings, the killings, I thought they were pretty cool.
Really?
I thought so.
Oh man, okay, we're gonna have a discussion in a second. But before we go any further, just so that everyone is aware, it's Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Anna Paquin's in it for a line.
Yes,
and it's got
Ray Romano,
Harvey Keitel, Bobby Cannavale.
Cannavale.
Yeah, he's an underrated guy. He's never been a main guy, but he's really good as well.
Yeah.
But either way, basically, it's just Robert De Niro from his perspective as being an older gentleman, basically walking you through the timeline of him as a younger guy, and then meeting the certain characters, Joe Pesci, through along the way, and then getting tied into that underworld kind of current.
So it does tell the semi-true story, novelized version of the story of Frank Sheeran, the hitman, also known as... I can't think of what it's called at the moment, but the book is called I Hear You Paint Houses.
Oh, yes.
And that's the line you hear in the film. Now,
I love that.
Typical Martin Scorsese films, all of them, they are very similar. When I watch them, I get the Tarantino vibe because the way that they're filmed and edited is very old school, very deliberate old school filming, and I appreciate that. But while watching The Irishman, like being Australians, we're not really up to speed on everything American history wise. Yeah. So I'm going into this not sure whether any of this is fact or fiction.
Well,
but at the same
had you
time,
heard about Jimmy Hoffa?
I know about Jimmy Hoffa, and I know about the characters, and I know I know that these people are based on real people, and the film establishes that there are like real people like included in the film and how they died and where they were in particular moments in time. Yeah. But I'm just still trying to wrap my head around that. Who is this film for? Who is its market? Because the way I see it is that being a 3.5 hour long epic film, and only coming to Netflix really, is like ignoring its very limited theatrical release. Yeah. How many people of Robert De Niro's, Al Pacino's, Joe Pesci's, and Martin Scorsese's age own Netflix, and how many of them will be able to sit through a 3.5 hour film?
I think what people need to remember is this was not a Netflix film.
Not originally, no.
Exactly. I believe it was Universal.
Yeah.
And they owned it, but then freaked out when they realized it was 3.5 hours long and the budget exploded.
But in saying
Netflix
that too,
picked it up off them. So as much as I know it's gone to the service and how many people are actually going to sit through this in their lounge room and all that kind of thing. This was supposed to go to theaters.
And I get that. But my argument is I'm kind of glad it didn't go to cinemas because the people that this film is made for, which is their generation, the Gen Ys essentially, I don't think any of them would have been able to sit through a 3.5 hour film to begin with. So it gives them the ability to actually pause and have a break in between the film. But how many people of that generation own Netflix to begin with? So they wouldn't have been able to really watch it at the cinema. And they can't even watch it at home, So I'm kind of trying to understand, like, yes, I enjoyed the film for the most part. The fact that it was a hard movie to watch because it did draw out a lot of scenes. I think every choice was deliberate. I don't think it was specifically drawn out to be long and boring.
Oh, God, no.
And I know people who really enjoyed this film. But I would watch 100 Goodfellas.
Yes.
Before I ever watched The Irishman again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so it's that low on your scale? Is it because of how slow it felt?
It's the slow feeling of the story and the length of the film. Yeah. This is a movie I'll only ever watch once. I don't think I'll ever watch this film again.
Yeah, see, sadly I agree with you, but I still saw it in a decent light. I still enjoyed all the aspects of it. I could see the storytelling and how it was in those classic Scorsese. Yeah. And I enjoyed the characters. I got to say, Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa. I've seen Jimmy Hoffa and stuff, and he was flawless. I loved Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa. That was fantastic.
I think a standout for me was Joe Pesci.
Now, Joe Pesci was fantastic, of course.
Yeah, we all know Joe Pesci hasn't been in a live-action film for a very long time. Or he's done little things here and there, but he hasn't done like a full-length feature film in a very long time. For him to come back to this caliber and put on a performance like this, I couldn't tell how old he was in this film.
No, that's the thing. Because of the jump cutting from times and the fantastic job, I will say,
the prosthetics,
the de-aging, the prosthetics, all of the things that they used to show the different timelines, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, compared to Will Smith and I can't even remember what that movie's called now.
Gemini Man.
Oh, thanks. Great. I just forgot. No, but like compared to that, and I understand two completely different beasts, but they were all flawless almost throughout. And like you said, I honestly don't know what Joe Pesci looks like at the moment.
Yeah.
Because that's you see him like deathbed old. You see him like 20 years earlier when he's like mid-50s or something, you know, and it's like, I don't know which one he is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so
it was very good.
As I said at the beginning of this review, is that I think the film was beautifully shot. I think it was filmed very delicately and very, very well thought out. And the story is very well thought out and told in a like, so everything about the film that makes it a film. So cinematography is great. The acting and script is great. The cast list is great. And the prosthetics are great. It's just, I think it's too long for its own good.
Yeah.
And as I said, like, it takes people a long time to really sit through it in one go and focus on it for the entire length. And I'm all for long films. I like a good 3-hour epic. I can sit there for a 3-hour epic. But a film like this, which tells a story over a long period of time, it's a talkie.
It's also a slow build.
Yeah, like it's a very slow build.
There's moments that hit you in the face along the way, but because of the story context and what type of story it is, it's definitely
not Martin Scorsese's roller coasters, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. This is not an adventure park or a theme park movie, that's for sure.
No, you're not going to go down the latest Joe Pesci roller coaster at Warner Brothers Movie World.
No, that's exactly right. But no, it was definitely... It sucks to say because like we hyped it up.
Yeah.
We really wanted to see this in theaters and that. And it just, like you said, it did just drag. And and compared to other Scorsese projects, like I mentioned The Departed earlier, Goodfellas, things like that, those never felt like they were wasting time.
Yeah, they were long films too. Yeah, they weren't as long as this, but they felt that there was a bit more. A bit more traction. There was more pace. More pace to it. Yeah,
natural pacing.
Yeah, and I think this film, like in the areas where it does feel like it's dragging, those moments had their input to the story, to the overall arc of the story. They weren't essentially wasted in the way that they were just filling time. They actually told the gaps in story, which if this was cut down, people would have been asking, so what happened here? What happened here? So as I said, I feel that every decision in terms of the story was deliberate.
Oh, it's just 100%.
It's just it's a difficult film to watch. It's just a difficult film.
No, that's right. And it is, without a doubt, a story worth telling. It's a fantastic story. It's, like you said, the cast, the filming, the writing, the editing, all of it is great. It's just a matter of when you put all that story together and you can't take bits out, like you said, otherwise it would feel like it's missing something.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with all those bits in, it did just feel like, maybe they should have tried to cut some.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing because everything in it has a purpose.
Yeah.
There isn't wasted motion. It's just slow motion.
It is slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
think that comes down to the casting of like old dudes and being written and directed by an old dude. I've got all the respect in the world from everybody who created this film, especially Scorsese.
Everybody involved
did
a great job. 100%.
That's what I'm feeling. I feel that people of that generation and that demographic may enjoy this film a hell of a lot more than people like us who asked what the world would consider young.
Yeah.
I certainly don't feel it.
No, not at all. I've got the aching bones.
Yeah, but as we said, this film is quite a difficult one to watch, and I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but I did enjoy it for what it was trying to do, and I appreciate the fact that this exists, and I hope that more longer films try to take that risk in creating longer experiences, but I just need them to be padded a little bit further, a little bit tightly knitted.
I also hope this doesn't scare Netflix off from getting such a big project again.
Oh, no.
I know they've been doing the big projects, they've been throwing around the money and things like that, but this was an opportunity for them to take one from a big studio.
Yeah.
You know, a Scorsese, De Niro, Pacino, Pesci movie and make it their own, which they did, and I'm sure this is going to do well for them on the service because it is a draw. But I hope it doesn't scare them off big projects like this again. But
absolutely.
Shout out Jesse Plemons as well. He played what's his name? Jimmy Hoffa's stepson.
Oh,
son?
yeah, absolutely.
From the Breaking Bad, and I just love him. I just love him. It was a minor role, as there was with a lot of these bigger names. There was very minor roles.
A lot of large names kind of pop their heads in and out of this film.
Exactly. That's right. Harvey Keitel. He was
Right.
He was in like 1 or 2 scenes right there, and then one there, and that's it. Like not even mentioned again.
And I'm glad that Ray Romano, because Ray Romano is Bill Bufalino. He plays a lawyer that was defending, Frank Sheeran like throughout most of his career, essentially.
Yeah.
You meet him at the fairly early on in the film, say, half-hour mark, which is considered early on in the film. And then he disappears for a while, and I was kind of worried. Like, I really enjoyed that character and the way he was portrayed.
Yeah.
I was hoping for his return. And yes, he does play a bigger role in the film later on when Frank Sheeran's character becomes more involved with Jimmy Hoffa and his tradings and dealings with what he does.
No, that's right. Yeah, no. So, but that was probably the only consistent cameo. Yeah. Everybody else just kind of popped in, then disappeared, because this truly is De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that trio kills it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And honestly, out of the 3, De Niro to me seemed like the lesser focus. For me, Pesci, like you said, murdered it. Yeah. And Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa was fantastic.
I feel
there was moments in there where I thought, was this a blooper? But that's the best take they got.
Yeah.
But then I realized that he was just that into the character and like that paranoid in that scene.
Absolutely,
and like over
I definitely feel that as well, and especially with Robert De Niro playing like the main leading role, he felt like he did the least talking.
I feel like he was the background.
Yeah,
it felt more like a Pesci Pacino. Yeah, and then De Niro was just the middleman.
Yeah, and essentially he kind of was in the story. Like he was the doer rather than the talker. So
he was the house painter.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But all right, I'm just going to go to a pretzel rating.
Yeah.
As much as like it did feel like it dragged, I can see the appeal. I see the beautiful filmmaking, the beautiful acting. I'm still going to give it like a 3.9 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because it is still a great film and it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's just a bit of effort to try and watch it again one day, maybe.
I honestly, I'm going to give it the same rating. If I was to give it 5 pretzels, I would give it 3.5 pretzels because it's not bad to the sense where it only gets just a pass mark.
No.
It is a good film. It's just, as I've said, a difficult film, and I don't think I will ever watch this again unless I'm in a very specific mood for a long afternoon to be filled with a Scorsese thoughtful film.
If I have like 4 hours worth of laundry to do.
So, best moment or your favorite moment?
Oh man. Yeah, no, I know. Dead air. There was a couple of lines that made me really laugh in that, but honestly, I've just got to say Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa.
Just like overall,
just overall. But the evolution of his character from where he starts and that, where he meets them and that, and gets along with them and becomes intertwined with it, and then ultimately, it's not a spoiler because it's fact, but then his demise, Jimmy Hoffa's demise. Yeah, I like that they kind of like tell you what happened to Jimmy Hoffa.
Well, it's funny you say that
in real life. Nobody fucking knows.
That's what I mean.
That's what I love about
this. Still technically missing.
That's another element that was like, a bit of Tarantino in there, like taking a factual thing and then like, oh, this is what actually happened.
Well, I believe in the book.
Excuse me?
In the book that it was based on, I Hear You Paint Houses, I believe that at one point Frank Sheeran owned up to it, but I don't think people believed him, essentially. Yeah, how it played out in the film is probably very different to real life, but no one will ever really know.
Yeah.
But if I was to pinpoint my favorite moment, it has to do with Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa. The moment they get the news that Kennedy was shot.
In the Sunday shop?
The Sunday shop. There's a moment where they're also... It's not a spoiler. It happens at the time of the Kennedys and their reign in power, essentially, and when the Kennedy was assassinated, which one he was. There was a moment where Jimmy Hoffa and the crew are at a Sunday bar, essentially, eating lunch, and it's on the TV, and the way that they all react to that, and especially Jimmy Hoffa's towards the end of that scene.
I was going to say, like, as in those actors in that shop did a fantastic job with their real-time reactions to the news, but also... the way Pacino portrayed Hoffa's reaction after the clashes they had.
I thought Jimmy Hoffa was legitimately going to change his tune, but he stayed true to his character.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it is great.
No, that is fantastic. But overall... But I know we're pushing time a little bit.
Yep.
I've just got to say, worst moment. Dude, I don't know how you enjoyed the gunshots in that. They looked so shit.
Really?
They looked terrible and fake, and especially... De Niro fighting that corner store guy. That was the most bullshit fake fight I've ever seen.
That was the weakest thing I've ever seen.
I could almost see his prosthetic hips. It looked terrible. And then the gunshots in that, I understand they looked visceral, but it was so obviously not a single drop of real blood on set.
I definitely get where you're coming from.
Gross.
There was a few moments
for such a big budget, lengthy movie, and Scorsese, who's talked about real filmmaking and that, he slapped CGI on that bitch and it looked fucking terrible.
There are a few moments where there is a few blood splatters where you can tell they've either CGI'd it or they've just gone with like a little jar. But the reason
there was no practical, I swear to God.
The reason I liked the gunshots is the way that they portrayed how they occurred. Is saying they were walking straight up, he would just pull a gun out of his jacket, straight in his face, bang, 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 right there, drop dead and walk off. That's what I liked about it.
Yes.
The way that they did him, as we said, that curb stomping scene was rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Trash, man.
But, like, as I said, like, the way he just walked up to people, shot him in the face, I thought that was quite good.
That's definitely
there was some
I agree
special
with
effects
you.
moments which kind of lacked in that department.
But no, I agree with you in the sense that definitely did look like actual real how a hitman would do that. You know,
back in the day,
especially in the restaurant with I can't remember his name, but the arrogant guy, the restaurant when he goes out to the family dinner, birthday dinner, and he walks in from the side and that goes and then quickly turns back around. That in particular, that felt more real because it was so poorly done. I'm being serious in his attempts to kill him. It was very poorly done that it like made that much of a mess and a chaos. So I get that element, but at the same time, the CGI, the squibs and that, it was just
give me those practical effects any day.
That's what disappointed me, but otherwise they did feel genuine. But anyway, The Irishman, it's worth watching at least once, and
then you can tell your friends that you've watched it.
It's worth watching at least once over 4 nights.
It will take you a long time unless you're literally like
don't do what we do and saved it for the night before we're going to review it and stay up until after midnight when we both work.
I put it on at like 8 o'clock and I went to bed at like midnight.
I put it on about 8 o'clock and I didn't go to bed. It's that long, but
that's been The Irishman. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you everybody for listening to Two's Company, Three's a Podcast. That has been our show, ladies and gentlemen. You can certainly find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at 2C3Pod.
That's right, and don't forget, make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite platform, whether that's Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Big Summer Blowout.
Now, you can support the show, of course, by buying a t-shirt or a mug or a hoodie or a sticker at 2public.com. If you want to support the show in a way that gives you something in return, you can certainly spend a few bucks over there and you can get a bit of merch.
That's right, and don't forget, if you wanted to contact us directly, Two's Company, Three's a Podcast at gmail.com.
Now, we do have 2 podcasts every fucking week.
Language, Dylan.
Every cunting week on Wednesdays and Fridays. And you can tune into those whenever you see fit. We've also got a massive backlog of episodes now. We're bloody getting there, ladies and gentlemen.
I believe if we're teeing it up correctly, we could hit 50 episodes before the new year.
Which is only around the corner.
That's right. And don't forget, 4 episodes on YouTube every week. 4 videos, my apologies, and some original content. So make sure you subscribe there and ring that little bell.
And smash that like button. Fuck, I hate it when people say that. But thank you very much for tuning in.
Yes.
My name is Dylan, as always, with my co-host
Mitchell. And don't forget, we are Two's Company, and
you are the podcast.
We did it. We'll get better. There's still those little moments that I had to keep checking the script, you know? I felt like old mate out of Star Wars, just throwing the script under the bed. And I'm like, gotta get that. Gotta get that. Oh man, I need a new mug. Well, this one's been through the dishwasher a few times and it came from Redbubble. Yeah, I know. We deleted them, but it started to fade a little bit. But
it says they were dishwasher safe, and they fucking lied to us.
Well, they are. But this is just so you can hear clearly now. This is Redbubble we're bagging, not the TeePublic store. The TeePublic store is amazing and doesn't actually have travel mugs, so that'll solve the problem.
God.
I know.
Thanks for tuning into that video by Two's Company, Three's a Podcast. Don't be sad though. There's plenty more where that came from. Another cheeky video right there. Maybe even hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Or, if you don't like our faces, check us out on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube.